What's up? What's up? It is Wednesday, August 6th. You are on the Packet Roundtable. Got the squad -1 today. And how you boys doing?
Just out here living the best life. How about you, Caleb?
Doing pretty well, thanks.
Nice.
Well,
go for it, Josh.
Yeah, well, we just got hit up by the base team, and I didn't hear the announcement when it went down, but here, where did they announce it? They announced it back at the State of Crypto, and apparently you're going to be able to buy base tokens directly from Coinbase now. So you won't need a third-party wallet to go and purchase tokens that are not listed on they're not officially listed on Coinbase.
What do you mean you won't need a third-party wallet?
Well, right
now it's a listing. We're getting a listing. Nobody asked for it. Nobody gave any money. Nobody bribed anyone. Nobody greased any palms, and we're getting listed. So it's
basically, yeah, you're going to be able to buy. Normally, when you're going to go get something that's not listed on Coinbase, you're going to need to go get either Coinbase wallet or a MetaMask wallet to store those tokens, and then you're going to need to go to Uniswap or wherever you can find them to buy them. Apparently, you're going to be able to buy them directly from Coinbase.com.
Yeah, it seemed to say that Coinbase is going to function as a DEX. So, yeah. But it'll be interesting because I guess they're going to provide the liquidity. I mean, it's hard to understand how that's all going to function. We're going to have to dig into it, but definitely a big announcement. Apparently it launches tomorrow.
Oh, hold on. They haven't announced that yet.
What's that?
Yeah, they haven't given the announcement date is not. Yeah.
Oh, well, something will be announced tomorrow. Who knows? But they wrote. No, I posted into Telegram the announcement from that was on their Twitter.
Right. Yeah. That's announced. I mean, that's already announced.
Yeah. So it says. So it says our asset universe is about to get a whole lot bigger. DEX trading is coming. Today, Coinbase users can trade hundreds of assets. Soon you'll be able to trade thousands of base assets within moments of them going live, all within the Coinbase app. So so there you go. That just got announced. I mean, we'll see what's next. But looking pretty big.
Yeah. Definitely big.
So we'll see how it all shakes out on the packet on base side. But we were just talking about this last week that there's a huge play with base and with the regulation / I guess deregulation that's been going on with crypto, the passage of the Genius Act. There's a lot more opportunity for some of these functions with crypto to become more ubiquitous and make it easier for people, especially to get involved with stable coins. But there's certainly a lot of opportunity for people to get involved with individual tokens and have access to not just get to stable, but to get from stable back out to fiat. And that's been one of the bigger issues and also one of the more expensive issues with regards to fees.
Right.
So I haven't done it recently and I don't know what the exact fee is, but apparently, so if you want to transfer funds, if you have a Coinbase account and you want to transfer funds to your bank account, like withdraw ACH to your bank account, if you're willing to let it be done over a handful of days, like 3 to 5 days or whatever they say. Do you know what those fees are, Josh? Like if you just aren't in a rush to get your cash, they're low, right?
Oh, if you're like to get them to your bank,
yeah. Is it free?
Yeah,
Is it?
AC.
Oh, so they only charge you if you're doing same day instant transfer,
Right.
like high fees. Got it. So I mean that's pretty insane. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was there was a fee on it, and then um obviously transacting in base is free. At least the fees are covered by base. So there's a big opportunity for people to start getting comfortable getting paid in stable at the very least, especially if it's free and then you can withdraw for free. Uh, Obviously, if you're not in a rush, if you don't need like instant cash and you're willing to wait a couple days, 2, 3 days, whatever the waiting period is. But I think this is big for, especially in the media space, especially for people that do licensing or, just generally getting paid royalties digitally. If you can get paid um, through crypto or through a stable and the fees are covered or non-existent, then you shouldn't have to wait 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to get your royalty statements. Like there's going to be a way for people to get paid in real time continuously. And so I'm pretty excited about this. This is kind of the direction I want to see things go with Packet TV, is for royalty participants getting paid in real time. So that's definitely like
Yeah.
a trail we want to place.
I was just with Charlie Shrem and his wife Courtney last night, and I was talking to them about this and about being able to use Packet to skip ads, and since Packet's worth fractions of a penny, to be able to use single digit Packet to just skip an ad and just use that as a mechanism. And I was just kind of talking about the whole ecosystem and what we're building, and yeah, he was just like, wow, that's exactly what we need. And to make it so that you're not, so reliant on being a crypto trader to be able to use the token as a utility, and Coinbase just keeps making it easier and easier, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, and he was he was talking about how the early days of BitInstant and his collaboration with Coinbase. It's funny when they talk, he's just like, yeah, back in the day when Brian Armstrong used to work for Airbnb, and you're like, you think it feels like crypto's been around for so long, but 2009, that was like an era. Anyways, yeah, it's pretty cool. I love hanging out with that guy because he's just like he was just so deep in the game back when this whole thing started, and he's such a legend and just a class act.
Yeah, for sure. Is he still doing a bunch of stuff in movies, and is that where he's been focused?
No, we can get into what he's doing later. He's doing some pretty exciting stuff, but I don't know if he wants me to blast it on a live stream. But yeah, he's doing some amazing stuff. I mean, Courtney's obviously killing it in the entertainment space, and she's killing it. So it's exciting. They're just the best. They're just such sweet people.
Yeah, well, that's cool. You got to hang with them last night. That it's always nice to kind of share what we're up to, and there's a couple big pieces of the Packet TV story that have really come to bear. We're from our standpoint, Packet TV, I think we as we've been meeting with our advisors and working on this pretty extensively, there's like 3 big parts to it. So there's the branding part, which is around creating awareness for the brand name, if you will. The second piece is the infrastructure part, which is both delivering the being able to deliver content, have a whole entire electronic programming guide where people can search through content, and then obviously having content. And this is also where we've been kind of rubber meets the road of use cases within Packet Network, and specifically using some of that infrastructure for Packet TV. And then the third piece is obviously marketing. And you could say it dovetails a bit into like what I mentioned first with brand name, building that up, we have some strategies on brand name we can't talk about yet, but presumably we'll be able to announce that in the next couple months. We'll see how that all shakes out. But marketing is certainly a big piece in what we've been talking about, because Packet TV is such a broadly engageable platform, meaning there's so many different celebrities and brands and pieces of content that will touch it. How can we create organic marketing mechanisms that we don't just have to pay for, where you're not just like paying influencers to post about something and very one-dimensional and flimsy, but having people like deeply involved with the platform, not just economically incentivized where like the platform's paying them to be a promotional participant, but where they actually have a vested interest, whether it be, equity, or they have a show on the platform that they want to promote. And so you have that organic marketing that continuously drives new people into the platform. So thinking just kind of how we want to launch all these things going into next year and putting all the pieces together. And then, the next piece is that, Josh and I are going to have to go get on the road and put everything together so that we can get this thing to launch in the probably mid to late spring next year is really kind of the target for it. So got our work cut out for us. I always say there's like a tight window right after summer and right before the holidays where people are back in the office and there's business to be done. So we've been getting all of our presentation materials ready, and we can, hit the ground running as people get back into the office over the next 2 weeks. You ready to hit the road, Josh, or what?
Yeah, I am. I'm just hitting people in the chat.
Question.
So yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to hit the road. I'm actually the most excited to hit the road because I'm just, I always say this, and I've been saying it forever. It's like until you can say what you're doing in a sentence or two and get people's ears to perk up and be like, oh shit, that's dope. Tell me more. You're just never going to raise a penny, and we know that because, we see the flat line of the chart and all that stuff, but that's also because we haven't been out, shaking babies and kissing hands. And so now that we have a clear understanding, and I've just started the process of talking to people, and people are like, oh shit, like even with Charlie, when we were leaving, he was just like, dude, this is going to be big, and Charlie's, he's obviously a nice guy, but he also has been in the game for a long time and knows what's hot air and what's not. And just we're just getting so refined on how we talk about it. So I am really excited to go hit the road and start talking to the right people and showing what we got. We've been just tirelessly building out all the collateral you need to go do a substantial raise. And now we're just kind of like at that finish line for all that content, all that stuff that's needed. So I'm really excited to go hit the road. I want to sit down in front of people and start telling them what we're doing and start, opening the kimono. And I think we're going to get a lot of excitement on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree with you for sure. Yeah. Getting out, getting in front of a bunch of, VCs. I think it will be VCs, private equity, some brand partners, some celebrities, some high net worths. I mean, it's just kind of making our run around the world over the next 2 months, really putting all these pieces together. So yeah, like you said, just getting all the documentation, all the collateral materials that we need to be able to, present to people. And there's some time sensitivity to some of these pieces as well. So, that urgency is good. It allows us to kind of push and get the right people involved in a short amount of time. So someone wrote in the chat, when we're going to go, start doing marketing. When are you going to start doing marketing?
When marketing?
What's that?
When marketing?
When marketing? Yeah. Whenever someone wants to start, burning cash, it's it's interesting because I look at a lot of I follow like a couple dozen callers in the crypto space, and there's like a continuous theme of the things that uh, get these charts to move, and I'll go through a couple of them. So the first one is the easiest one, is like if somebody observes that like a large amount of tokens from the token supply have like gone to an exchange wallet. So they're like, oh, Binance must be loading up on this. You also can't tell if someone just sent a large amount of their token supply to a Binance wallet. Just like if you did that with a new token, like send 15% of your supply to a Binance wallet and then went out and promoted it, you probably get a nice pump off it. Doesn't mean it's ever going to get listed. It's just, you can't tell. I saw another one where they had sent a chunk of the token supply to Donald Trump's wallet, and then it was a complete scam. They posted like July 22nd, there's going to be a huge announcement, generational wealth. This is the next Trump token. It's going to go to billions. And they got the chart to run. I mean, it went from like 2-3 million to like 50 mil. And then by like July 18th, everyone had basically rugged it. And it looks like Donald Trump was the fucking bag holder on that one. It's tough for him. He never got out. But that was a complete scam. And then you have like just things that callers will say, like, this is a narrative that people understand. There was a token that they were all pumping called Motion. Just, hey, it's a $2-3 million shitter that, all the callers get behind. And if they can move it, which they did, up to like whatever, 10 mil before it got completely gutted, came all the way back down, and now they're like, with that last kind of market crash that happened, taking Bitcoin from like 120 to 112. And then they've been talking about it getting on some exchanges, and that popped the price back up off a price floor, right? But that's pretty much it. Like anything, I very few things will include mention of some sort of utility, and it's so thin and like so hypothetical and most likely complete bullshit. Like I'll give you another example of a utility token. There was one where it was like you could buy so bad. It was like you could buy supplements with the token. It's like, okay.
The narrative just makes sense.
It just makes sense. It's just, and that's the type of shit they say. But if you see all these callers posting about it, dude, throw a couple soul at it and then just set an exit. You make 20 to 50 to a couple 100%. But those tokens, none of them last. None of them last. Like the only thing that I've seen stay up is like pretty much XRP, even though I've seen that go all the way back down to $1.75. But I mean, they've done a good job to keep that one up, which is also surprising because they just released like whatever billions of dollars worth of tokens on August 1st. And it did get completely gutted back down to 280. And now I believe it's back over $3. But XRP is held strong. And if you load it up on XRP at like, I think it was like the beginning of the year, like 40 or 50 cents. Yeah, you got a nice 6x plus 7x if you wanted to exit at $3.60 like a couple of weeks ago. And then Bitcoin and, Ethereum's obviously been the worst investment, this decade, but even Ethereum's been holding above $3,000 right now. So, hard to complain about that. It was all the way down on, what was that, on April 1st? It was down to like $1,200. So,
that's a good
something like that,
reaction or whatever.
So so ETH's even been a
but when people are talking about marketing, and it's funny, and I was talking to Charlie about this, like everything in the crypto space is relatively small. You're talking to a small subset of people, and the amount of money in the, obviously Bitcoin's massive, but everything else is relatively small. And but when you talk about marketing, when you're talking about tens of millions of users, active users, daily users, hourly users, like
Yeah.
it's so big. And so when we talk about marketing and kind of just to give the community an understanding of what we're doing here is we're building something that can be marketed, because it's like, what do you market in a crypto thing? Oh, hey, the token's live. You got to go buy it. Go buy this thing. Hey, you can, use it to pay for nothing. Like, it's exciting. Here's a utility. It's a utility token, buy the best meme coin. And you're just kind of like pissing down a mole. Is that what you call it, Caleb? Is that you're saying? I forget. You got a rat hole. Thank you. Yeah. So that's yeah. I mean, look, that's what you
rat hole. That's what it's about.
Pissing down a rat hole.
We're pissing money down a rat hole.
Right. Well, that's what marketing in the crypto space is. But when you can like give somebody something that people actually need, solving real problems for people, where people are excited about, what the offering is, like now you're able to market, like you can't get celebrities to go pump your token. Like you just can't, like unfortunately Sam Bankman-Fried fucked that up for everybody. But when you're talking about streaming, when people are promoting a channel that they have their invested interest in, that they are the celebrity, like then you can get people to market. Then you can get celebrities. Then you can get influencers. Now you're really building some real marketing. You're marketing a real product. There's actual money. The money's coming from advertisers. Like this whole packet TV thing is an easy thing to market. It's like I mean, relatively speaking for marketing, but it's an easy thing, easy story to tell, and an easy reason to go and dump a bunch of money into marketing because first of all, that makes the platform money, and that supports the global ecosystem. And so as we get closer to product, as this thing really starts getting legs, as we go do a few of these things that we're being a little cryptic on, like now there's real marketing to be done. Now there's a reason to go spend millions of dollars into marketing because you're not just dumping it into a dumpster fire. You're actually generating revenue off of that marketing spend. And that's really what we've been building and what we've been gearing this thing up to, so that when marketing starts, that we're marketing for a purpose and it's not just to pump a token.
Yeah. And that's actually the piece that I'm the most excited about, because I remember the times that I've marketed a product and had celebrities involved, and what that looks like, what that feels like, what kind of lift you get in the publicity engine, and within the, whether it be the trades or the press, and reporters covering it, people wanting to learn more and engage on social media and talking about it organically and all these different things. And so, yeah, that's really where we want to get to. Obviously, we want to get to the product. And one of the big pieces that we've been doing, and this is the thing that I'm pretty excited about, is, the biggest risk that you have when you're starting something new is if you have to build it from scratch, then you have to test it. There's going to be bugs. Like, you really have to put a lot of emphasis into making something really good quality, and then you have to have a ongoing kind of engagement to make sure it's functional. A good example is the dashboard, which is pretty functional for like what we built, and how that we've done basically virtually zero maintenance on that dashboard for Packet. And we spent, I forget, it was like well over $250,000 building that, but it needed like ongoing, like couple 100,000, probably maybe 100, just to keep fixing bugs and all these different things. And Caleb's been tinkering with it here and there, but for the most part, pretty much not. It was well built at the beginning. but it could have been a lot better if we had done ongoing stuff. With Packet TV, the way we're approaching is we actually doing a deal. We haven't done it yet, but we're doing a deal with a partner who's going to be our infrastructure partner, who's got all the tech already built, allow us to adapt it. And that's going to give us a really, really high quality product right out of the gate, meaning the app and the service and everything that people use, the content that everyone people have accessibility to is going to be like the top of the line, fully vetted, like already well into use, tech platform. So that's a huge weight off all of our shoulders of having to build something from scratch. And it's going to mean that when Packet TV launches, it's going to be extremely, extremely high quality. And then, I'm just can't wait. It's probably the most, and Josh and I have been saying this a lot, the most yeses that we've ever got, at least I've ever gotten in my career, taking this around and talking to people about it. We've been able to put together just an unbelievable team of advisors, a lot of really, really exciting, individuals that are a part of the project, and then helping us, directing traffic, introducing us to so many other different people that are helping to comprise the team and the investor foundation. And then obviously next piece is tech and marketing that we'll need to to get this thing live next year. So those are all just been very, very positive. Very, very positive. Caleb got to join us on that big call a week and a half ago, and getting ready to push Caleb back into his next dev mode. I was like, I had Caleb last week. I was like, hey, since you're like a big celebrity now, and you really get to pick and choose the projects that you do. Do you want to? How are you feeling about this? You're excited? You want to do this? And happy to report he said yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's more about projects that have impact than working on any particular kind of technology. Impact makes it fun.
Yeah. I agree with that. This really feels impact like, rubbing shoulders with the big dogs, really, and that's what it's going to be, because like the incumbents in the space are not, petty little players. Like every single one of them is, a big dog. I mean, we're talking about Netflix, Amazon, Roku, it's just
Samsung,
Hulu, like they're just big, big players in the game. They're all, well capitalized. And then like, it was interesting. I was just looking it up last night. Like, who are the big players that don't have a fast streaming platform? And it's like Netflix, Disney, Sony, Apple, Warner Brothers, Apple. So, you're entering that market. And it's not just, you can't just like be a little fly by night. Well, actually, funny enough, there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of fly by night platforms that have come out being like, hey, we're a new fast streaming platform that no one's ever heard of. So if you want to, be in the same category, conversation category, have millions of users. Well, if you don't have millions of users, you're not going to get in the same conversation category. But if you want to be in that conversation, you have to play at a very high level. And so, we've been fortunate enough to have, strong advisory that's made this possible. And just kind of setting us up for this next run at it that we got to do. It's definitely going back to the drawing board, and it's something that I've done throughout my career, where we've, where I've always had a very entrepreneurial approach, from when I launched Radical, which was, a big feat coming right out of film school and hitting the ground, taking meetings with everybody and talking about a vision for something until our first comic book went live, and our first comic book led ourselves to our first, big major motion picture, and that led us to our next one, and, historically generate over $1 billion in revenue off of all the, content that we've made. And so this just feels like all the lessons learned and, all the relationships built, and kind of going back and building something that can really help the community, the entertainment and celebrity community in general, um, you know, have access to something new, have access to something different, and also solve some of the issues that we're experiencing right now in the content space. I know that I have this problem continuously, which is like the what to watch problem, where you're like, all right, I want to watch something. Which app am I going to open up on my television? What apps are paywalled? Um, and things are just constantly changing. There's some big news that just announced yesterday that it's actually a crazy deal. I have to really dig into it. Maybe some people have seen it, that ESPN just bought the NFL network. And it's like a rev share thing, or it's like an equity swap thing, I should say, where ESPN's going to, I guess, end up owning 10% of the NFL.
No, NFL's gonna own 10% of ESPN.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
And they're going to give them the licensing rights to the NFL on ESPN app. So
Got
you're
it.
going to be able to stream NFL games and yeah, they're going to get a bunch of like access to NFL stuff. And they're getting 10% of ESPN. And that's actually one of the kind of pushbacks that happen is they're like, so the NFL is going to own 10% of the ESPN, which is also owns part of the sports book.
No, it owns ESPN Sportsbook. ESPN has
Right.
a sportsbook.
Well,
Yeah.
but I'm saying they're going to own a part of the sports
I see.
book that's betting on NFL. So then they're saying that that's like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, they may have to divest the sports book interest. I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of because that'll probably have to go through some sort of regulatory thing. But yeah, that seems definitely shady, especially since the NFL identifies as an entertainment product. It's as sometimes feels scripted, as scripted as like a WWE episode watching some of these games, but sometimes truth feels like fiction. But the deal is huge, and so from a big change, like if you pay for ESPN, it's like $11.99 or $12.99 a month. That price is about to go up to $30 a month. What do you get? You're going to get NFL Sunday tickets, like $500 a year or something like this, 400 something bucks a year. NFL Plus is about, I think, like 80 or $100 a year. So yeah, it's just a ton of money. I mean, it's a monster. It's an absolute monster what NFL is. And since we've been doing a bunch of stuff in content and also realizing how vital sports is to the fast streaming space, and then you look at what NFL is. I actually listened to a really cool podcast. I think it's called The Speed of Culture, and they had the CMO of the NFL on, and just awesome to listen. It's like a 30-minute podcast, really well done podcast. And this guy just gets hitters. I mean, the people that he gets on, mostly in the marketing departments of these companies, but everything from airlines to, big clothing brands to Samsung, just really nice opportunity to listen to, these like game-changing brand leaders and hear what they're thinking about tech and AI and marketing. But yeah, specifically just listening to what the NFL's doing and their pathway to reaching global audiences. And yeah, it's just one of the biggest brands in the world. And it's just so impressive. So yeah, this deal is a monumental deal. And Josh and I have been talking a lot about certain vision that we can bring to an innovation that we can bring to sports as well, because that'll be a big piece of the story at Packet TV. Both Big Four, Big Four, including NCAA, So the big four is like MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL. But every other sport is called like a tier 2 sport. But NCAA is so interesting because like college football and college basketball is huge in the US, just absolutely just monstrous. And the broadcast rights are extremely valuable. So between the broadcast rights of the big four and then the NCAA, it's just a huge business. Everything else is tier 2, but there's a huge opportunity for all these tier 2 sports to be produced at the same cable and broadcast quality that you get with the big four and NCAA. And they're very rarely, if ever, produced at that level. So there's a big opportunity that we see to to bring that together. And where Packet kind of dovetails into this, and this is like why we're talking so much about sports and streaming and stuff, is like Packet is providing the infrastructure for this. That's like the whole piece. That's like the whole part of this is, we have the CJDNS infrastructure, and then we have the Packet token. It's CJDNS infrastructure, so Packet network, Packet token, Packet DNS. Those are the three kind of pieces of this story. So why would somebody care about streaming? Why would someone care about content? Why would someone care about stories? Because people want us to talk about marketing. What are we marketing, right? The whole point here is like, if we're going to market Packet, and it's going to be like, oh, hey, go set up a node, or, oh, go buy this token. For what purpose? What's the utility? Everyone always says, what's the utility? So if we can connect ourselves to sports, if we can connect ourselves to celebrity channels, if we can connect ourselves to a streaming platform where you can use the Packet token to skip ads, if you can be a content licensor, and put your content into Packet Television for distribution and get paid in real time in Packet on base, or get paid in real time in stables on base. And now we can tell our story about how Packet's integrated with Coinbase and Packet's integrated with USDC, and how millions of people can use the Packet Television application across hundreds of touch points, whether it be on your gaming console, on your smart TV, on your cell phone. Then we have something to talk about. Then we have something to market. Then we have something that gives the token utility. And without that, what are we talking about? And if we look back on the last 5-6 years of Packet, it was always a lot of blue sky. And ultimately, nobody in the community really took action to build applications within the ecosystem. And from the Packet Pal side, we were building hardware utility. Obviously, a lot of people were mining when things were, a proof of work. But ever since we shifted over to Base, we've been fortunate enough to get a lot of people to set up infrastructure, but the hardest part is really getting people on the utility side, and of course you have stake to earn, and that's been great. And a lot of people have, connected. There's 140 something nodes. I saw it. Actually, it'd be cool to see a chart, because things went up to I don't think we ever got to 200 nodes. But I saw it all the way down to probably into the 120s or maybe 130s. And now we're back up to the low 140s. So there's certainly people, who have provided liquidity into the LP. There's certainly people who have, contributed domains, and there's certainly people who continue to operate, CJDNS infrastructure all over the world. I think we're in 6 continents, 34 countries. But utility wise, and token chart wise, it's just been pretty much a downward, just a downward chart. And so our goal here is to really focus on things that can get more people involved in this project, that aren't just to get more people involved with the project that aren't just working on crypto. So that's kind of where our focus has been. And then the next piece of the story is users and adoption. People who are not crypto native to be able to download the app, use the app, and not even have any relationship to crypto, but they're promoting Packet TV. That's where things we think get exciting and where we start getting the kind of charting movement that I'd like to see. This is not, when we were doing crypto, we were always like, could we get to 100,000 users? Now that we're doing this, it's like, can we get to 10 million, 20 million users? Like those are the numbers that are interesting. It's really anything below that is, it's going to take us time to get there. Don't get me wrong, but anything below there is not interesting. So our target is to crack the 20 million mark by year 5, 2031, just to be up into the 20 millions. Like that would
There's
be
just nothing in crypto that's even close. Like there's nothing even on the same playing field as that. I mean, except for Bitcoin or I guess Ethereum. I mean, how many? There's probably.
Ethereum's got it. I think Ethereum's got millions of users just by virtue of the fact that there's so many projects built on Ethereum.
Sure.
And Ethereum really does have that many users. I don't know what the number is, and maybe somebody in the chat knows, but how many wallet holders there are on XRP? I wonder if there's over a million wallet holders, but I have a feeling there probably isn't. I would say there's, maybe it's just Ethereum and Bitcoin that have over 1 million users. I mean, I don't know. I haven't even looked at it, but there's really just very little of anything in crypto that's touching 1 million people. You could argue maybe like, some projects in the top 10, certainly like, stables.
Ethereum, it says Ethereum has 332 million, which is obviously
What, wallet holders?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's so
tough.
massive. But that can't be 332 million people.
Right. Let's see. What about Sol? I'm asking our friend ChatGPT. Sol has 9 million. Which is pretty nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah, no, that's legit. That's why I say like the things in the top 10.
Yeah.
But what about XRP? How many wallet holders in XRP?
Has fewer than 2 million.
Okay. So
It doesn't have an exact number.
Got it. Yeah. So yeah, you just got a few projects that are, I mean, if Ethereum, yeah, I mean, you say 330 million. I mean, 330 million wallets doesn't,
But that's because you got to have an Ethereum wallet to hold any of the other tokens,
right. That means you have like a Uniswap wallet. You have like you could have 5 different wallets.
You could have no Ethereum and have an Ethereum wallet.
True.
You could have one of their ancillary tokens that are built on the Ethereum chain and not have any ETH, have fractions of ETH. But yeah, I mean, it just shows how much bigger this is than just a crypto project.
Yeah.
And so we're just, when you're talking about marketing, you're talking about what to market. You get to market to tens of millions of people, and if you could get tens of millions of people to have a packet wallet, what?
Just 1 million people. Like
I know, but if you have tens of millions of people have a packet wallet, like you're in the top 10, you're in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So that's what we're doing. And that's why we've come to where we are. And so as the community kind of can wrap their mind around what our vision is and why we've arrived here is like, some of these platforms that we're talking about, they have tens of millions of daily active users, like if you had tens of, even Ethereum isn't, I mean, maybe it has tens of millions of daily active users, but like you got these wallets, you know, a lot of them are dormant or just sitting there, just like when moon, you know, and they're not, people aren't just like on the Ethereum chain, just there aren't tens of, maybe, I mean, maybe there are, I actually might be talking my ass on this, but like it's, even if it is, you know, on Solana, are there tens of millions of people working on, you know, trading on Solana every single day? It's like maybe.
Yeah, let's see. So Sol has approximately 626,000 daily average users.
Right. So there you go.
Sol DAU is
one of the biggest projects in the world, you know, and it's not even breaking 1 million daily active users.
Sol has 3.25 million daily average users. And I think Sol has
meme coins are just
more because of the meme coins. Yeah, there's so many people just trading shitters. So that's
and good for them, you know. High five to
Yeah.
Solana. I mean, they said fuck you to the naysayers, and they came out swinging. You know, I got a lot of respect for what they pulled off. Their chain went down every single day for a year, and they were able to do what they did. You know, bravo.
Bitcoin, 300,000 to 500,000 unique users sending or receiving Bitcoin per day.
Yeah.
So what we're building in, you know, in like failure is going to do have more daily users than almost anything except for Solana and crypto. So that's kind of reassuring. Like, welcome to the real world. Like, crypto is definitely its own world for sure. And there's so much opportunity in crypto. And so it's been very inspiring to be part of crypto in our small way and the things that we've been building here. But yeah, getting a big audience in crypto is tough because, you know, there are celebrities in the crypto space, celebrity influencers, celebrity developers, you know. You know, I know Caleb did get People Magazine cover
twice.
You know, Man of the Year twice. So,
well, here,
didn't Caleb get Most Handsome Man of the Year?
Yeah. Sexiest Man of the Year.
Sexiest Man of the Year. I did see that cover. That was huge.
That was a big one. It's a big one. Huge. So we got a couple of questions from the community. Let's I'm going to answer them real quick. One of them is this project bandwidth mining? So it's not a mining project.
We wrote that. We know who wrote that.
Yeah, whatever. I'll answer it. Basically what you're doing is you're adding you're running infrastructure, running a CJDNS node, and then you're pairing your stake to your infrastructure, and we're expanding that infrastructure worldwide. So we have nodes in 34 countries around the world that's powering this network. And so that is the expansion of CJDNS and creating a resilient network.
And I would say on the bandwidth side, Caleb, do you just want to make a comment on where bandwidth fits into the story on CJDNS and Packet Network?
Well, I mean, it's right now it's about you earn by providing connectivity to the network from unique IP addresses, basically. Bandwidth isn't. I mean, bandwidth turns out not to be as interesting as we thought it was, because when you make an algorithm that prioritizes bandwidth, the bandwidth all ends up in the same room, because that's where you get the cheapest bandwidth, obviously. You know, so you run a cable across the room and you can have all the bandwidth you want. And the model of prioritizing, well, domains and providing connectivity to the network, and in the future providing VPN out of the network is that's the model now. That's what you yield on.
Yeah,
it's a really good point. You know, I remember when you were first writing this software, and you said some pool operator is going to just set up everything in a room and run a cable across the room, and that's going to be the cheapest form of bandwidth. I remember you conjecturing that it was going to end up like that, all into one data center.
It wasn't. I mean, if we thought that was going to end up like that, we wouldn't have done it. But that was the concern, and the counterpoint to that was that even if you can bring a lot of bandwidth in one room, it will still be worth it to source community bandwidth at the same time. So it won't all collapse onto one pool. The thing that I think was wrong about that line of reasoning, I think that the tendency of mining to self-centralize was stronger than we gave it credit for in the beginning. And you kind of see this even with Bitcoin, where there's just a couple of major mining operations, one in the US, one in China, one in wherever, and that is the majority of all the mining. So I think that if mining did not naturally self-centralize, the addition of bandwidth wouldn't have been enough to make it. But when you add the fact that bandwidth has a centralizing tendency and mining also has a centralizing tendency, that was enough to push it over the limit. And that was where we learned something. It took us, it was a very interesting experiment, you might say. We should write a paper on it.
Yeah.
But
Let's say for your memoirs.
yeah, I mean, but it would be an interesting paper because, like, we now know that bandwidth mining has a self-centralizing tendency and that can't, as far as we know, it can't be resolved.
And what's amazing, and once we got this message from Base, it's just kind of like sometimes the stars align and you just like don't know what's coming, but like the universe is looking out for you. And the fact that we moved over to Base at this time, that we got this network to be distributed around the world, and now have built this utility on top of it, and then Base, and we we had initially started this to be able to create transparency for the media space, and so now that Base has just kind of like opened up their ability to connect directly with Coinbase, and all this stuff is kind of happening right now. Like this is just an incredible extension of what the project can be, and the use of CJDNS to build this network. And so all these pieces that like came from the original brainchild of what we were doing all those years ago, Base is the perfect home for it. And now we have people that are actually setting up CJDNS nodes as opposed to just mining their bandwidth, which doesn't actually solve any problems, doesn't do what we initially wanted, which was for people to set up CJDNS nodes globally. So it all kind of worked out exactly how it's supposed to, and that's been cool. The other question that we're getting from the community is about the third airdrop, which is happening. Caleb, do you want to talk a little bit about the third airdrop?
Well, it's programmed. It's programmed into the what's it called? The contract. It's programmed to the contract. As far as we know, there's no problem for everybody who wants to claim their airdrop to get their coins, because there's just so many unclaimed coins on airdrop 1 and 2 that it's going to take some time before we run into issues of not having enough in the contract. And if we do face that situation, those who've not been able to claim will be able to solve that with like another upgrade. But we're not aiming at doing that right in the immediate term, because we don't think it's necessary. So we're just going to go ahead with it as programmed, and can't really be stopped. That was the realization that we have. So we'll let it go. and I have no idea what to say about the exchanges. Jesse, maybe you can speak to that a little bit better. I just know the tech.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to withdraw it from the exchanges. So it's
it should be the same thing as far as timing goes. Hopefully, it's going to be on time because we don't have the same BS that happened with the first airdrop, specifically on Bitmart, which had a lot of delays because they like lost one of their wallets, and then they were just a complete disaster. And then finally they found it, reconciled everything. We got them the coins, and everything went off without a hitch. It was just like a month late. Hopefully they'll be on time this time, but we don't control the exchanges. The other thing is that, unfortunately, big shout out to the way that this all went down. The intent was for PKTC holders to be able to simply swap over into, Packet on Base. That obviously didn't happen the way that we had initially anticipated. So Packet on Base is only tradable on Uniswap, but the PKTC trading on Bitmart, I think I haven't checked, but continued until it didn't continue. I don't know if it's still active, but I have a presumption that it isn't because there was just zero trade volume over there. But you should still be able to withdraw. And we had intended and do intend actually to relist Packet on Base on Bitmart at some point. But, being that, there's market making requirements and stuff. We just haven't had the motivation to expand exchange listings outside of just being tradable on the DEX, because the DEX has the liquidity pool, and that's given people the ability to, or just the automatic market making just really gives people the ability to do what they want with their packet. So
listings, we're listing on Coinbase, bro.
Yeah, well, so it's like that kind of changed. Yeah, well, that was news that we only just got. So we'll see how that all shakes out. I have no idea what that looks like. It's not a traditional listing in my understanding of it, but I have no idea what I'm even talking about. I need to research it and see what's going on.
I suspect what they'll probably do, just off the top of my head, I suspect what they're probably going to do is, for everybody who has a Coinbase account, they're going to put like a buy and sell button, and that's just going to go through their infrastructure to the regular Uniswap contract, and it's going to execute the buy and sell in the Uniswap, and it's just going to show up in your Coinbase account. So it's not going to have like an order book and like the whole like market making bids, ask and stuff, but it will just give everybody like an easy button for being able to get Packet if they have a Coinbase account. That's
if this happens, if this is as cool as I think it's going to be, then we're going to do everything we can to promote it, and hopefully Packet can get some visibility through our story and what we're doing. So I'm fired up on it. Don't get me wrong, I'm fired up on it. But as far as just talking about the third airdrop, you should be able to go into your MEXC account or your Bitmart account and get your tokens and withdraw. Obviously, that's the intent. So we'll, I've already reached out to the exchanges, and hopefully it goes off without a hitch. But the next couple of weeks. I know someone else asked like what the date is. I don't know what the exact date is. It was programmed into the.
Is it August 20th?
I think it's August 21st, but I don't. Yeah, I don't. Depends on what time zone you're in. So I don't know.
Right.
21st or 22nd, depending on what part of the world you're in.
20th or 21st.
Or 23rd, or the 20th?
20th. It should be August 20th. Okay. I can actually look this up while we're on the call, but it should be August 20th. August 20th at the time of our Wednesday call, if I remember well, because
that's right.
It's precisely a year from the launch moment That's my memory of it.
We did make that decision. Yeah. So you're right. So 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today.
Does it actually fall on another Wednesday?
It looks like it's on a Wednesday, the 20th.
Yeah, I think that's what we made it.
We chose for it to be on a Wednesday.
Programmed that.
Yeah, but it was a Wednesday last year. I just rare for one 365 days later to be also, or sorry, the 20th of the same month to also be Wednesday.
Yeah, last year it was the 21st.
Okay.
So this year it's the 20th.
Yeah, 20th at 9:30 a.m. PST.
Okay, there you go. There you go, folks. So yeah, next Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays from today. So
all right, you heard it here.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, can there be some more exciting shit happening? I mean, we just been on, cruise control, obviously, for this year. The volatility that came out of the Trump pump to the downside really was demoralizing for the PACA project. There's no question. Everyone hang on tough, putting their faith in ETH, and ETH got the fucking absolute shit kicked out of it. Yeah. I think I mentioned it last time, a funny meme where it's like a guy waking up out of a coffin and it said ETH holders who had bought at 3,900 last year. It's just like, wait a minute, what? Are we almost there? Are we almost to 4,000? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to say that when ETH breaks 4,000, it's going to rip to 5, kind of like when BTC broke 100 and whatever 7 or 109, it just ripped all the way to 120, but 123. But I don't know. Who knows? Who fucking knows? That said, yeah, we're just hanging on to these coattails on Packet TV front, and anyone who's a holder, come along for the ride. If you want to sell your tokens, there's some people that are ready to pick them up. So wishing you all the best.
Yep. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for tuning in, and see you same time, same place next week.
Sounds like a plan.
Have a good one.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye. Come here. Come here. This is so quick.